What we have here are two different species closely related. We have spinach and beet. They are both affected by a fly called Pegomya, Pegomya hyoscyami and Pegomya betae. They may or may not be separate species. These are two closely related plants. And they are affected by these leaf miners. The leaf miners will overwinter in the soil. When they emerge in the spring, they will lay a new egg on the underside of the leaf. It's a small egg. I don't see any here right now. The eggs will hatch. They will chew through the leaf and they will kind of chew out the middle layer of tissue, leaving behind these kind of white blotches on the actual plant themselves. So slowing down photosynthetic rate and shutting down the growth of the plant. They can go through several broods in a single season. If you can look right there, we have one of the larvae on here. And if you kind of break them out, you can see them much better under a microscope. So I'll have some of that footage in a moment. We'll kind of go over the biology of the species in a little bit more detail. So that right there is the actual leaf miner that's coming out of the spinach leaf. Good. So this is the leaf of a beet, Beta vulgaris, which admittedly I forgot to thin out, so they're a bit too close together, as you can kind of see from this picture here. But these are the tunnels, again, of Pegomya hyoscyami, which is the spinach leaf miner, so they will jump over to beets as well. Swiss chard as well also gets affected. Spinach seems to be hit the hardest. But you can kind of see the tunnel there. There's a few others that are a bit more badly affected. These were probably affected a little bit earlier in the season. They've really taken a beating on some of their leaves. So they will recover. They generally don't get hit as hard as spinach again, but still all of the loss of this photosynthetic ability is going to kind of translate into less root tissue, which is what we want when we're growing things like beets. And it also makes the kind of greens look, not as attractive. So if you're trying to grow these in order to eat them, it's less appetizing seeing your leaves chewed up with holes. This is Chenopodium album, which is a really common weed in the eastern United States. This is a good example of how you can culturally try to control Pegomya, which is the spinach leaf miner, by removing this weed. This is going to harbor a ton of these larvae of the fly, which will bore through the leaves. This is a pretty close relative of Swiss chard, spinach, other closely related plants, and as you can see, they love this plant. So this is the really good source of where they are going to be found when you don't have farms locally or gardens that are growing these particular crops that they will jump over to, like spinach. So making sure that you have none of this weed anywhere near your spinach, your Swiss chard, and your other members of the Chenopodiaceae, Amaranthaceae that are vegetables, including beets. Keeping this weed out of those areas is going to be very important to controlling this spinach leaf miner from attacking your crop plants.